This hand is not very good. I could play Secluded Steppe tapped, and then I would have to fetch for the Ash Barrens. I'm not very impressed with this hand. It also has 2 Hawks, so I'm going to mulligan. Okay, we have a couple basics. We have a first turn play. I think that we can throw back either the Guardian of the Guildpact or maybe the Forgotten Cave. Okay, our opponent is keeping 7. Just going to decide here which card I want to get rid of. These are all very potent cards. I would like to keep the Forgotten Cave to ensure that I can get towards 3 to 4 mana to play these higher drops. I think I'll get rid of the Guardian of the Guildpact, not knowing what I'm playing against. I think the Palace Sentinels is just going to have more value. And if we don't need the land in Forgotten Cave, we can cycle it. Okay, so we got our clue and pass back to the opponent. Okay, Ancient Den into Chromatic Star, so they're probably playing an ATOG deck. We found another land. So we're starting to feel good about cycling Forgotten Cave. But we can crack our clue first to be more mana efficient. We will attack for 1 and we'll crack our clue EOT on the opponent's turn. Okay, this will tell us a little bit more about what they're playing. The Great Furnace, no surprise there. And there's a Thoughtcast. So they'll draw 2 and pass back to us. Okay, it looks like they will be discarding, so let's go ahead and crack our clue. We get Lightning Bolt, fantastic. And we'll see what they discard. Darksteel Citadel. Okay, we've got 2 more bolts. What I'm thinking here is I might want to play the Forgotten Cave, and then we can set up for a Palace Sentinels next turn. The other option is playing Plains and cycling the cave, and hope that we find an untapped land. Personally, I prefer playing the cave here. It's pretty much guaranteed Palace Sentinels next turn, and we'll have Lightning Bolt to take care of one of their creatures. So we'll attack for 1 and set up for Palace Sentinels. Prismatic Strands will be very strong with the Palace Sentinels as well. Being able to prevent combat damage means that the opponent will not be able to take the Monarch away from us. And they've also spent this entire turn putting permanents on the board that do not attack. So we're fine with that. We'll keep the Lightning Bolts in hand as answers to their creatures. Oh, we found the land anyway. So we'll play another Plains. We'll attack with the Inspector and play Palace Sentinels. So far this is playing out a lot more like Boros Monarch, but we're fine with that. Okay, we got our Squadron Hawk, so we'll be able to start going wide with that. Mirror Enforcer, okay. Prismatic Strands do not work with Mirror Enforcers. But we can block with Squadron Hawk and then Bolt. So that will get rid of those. And there's an ATOG. The Prismatic Strands will work against an ATOG. Okay, we'll play the Mountain, so we have access to double Lightning Bolt. And we'll play the Squadron Hawk, keeping up mana for Prismatic Strands. Okay, yes, we'll use the ability, and we have 4 cards in the hand currently, but we also have the Monarch coming up. So we're only going to want to grab 2 Squadron Hawks, which will put our hand size to 6, and then the Monarch trigger will put our hand to 7. Okay, we'll hold back. We want to hold on to that Monarch. And we draw another land. Okay, so the opponent is using Guildpact on the Sentinels. I think that we allow that to happen. The other option is that we could Prismatic Strands, give our creatures pro-red. I don't think that's very good. We'll just let that happen. Okay, we're going to block the 2 Mirror Enforcers and let the ATOG through. Let's think about that for a second longer. We would like to be able to take the Monarch back. So perhaps we block the Mirror Enforcer with a Thraben Inspector and leave the Squadron Hawk on the board so we can take Monarch back. And then we can bolt one of the Enforcers. And if they do ATOG things, we can use Prismatic Strands instead. Okay, so we'll use the Inspector to block an Enforcer. And we'll see if they go in on the ATOG. I don't think they will. I think they'll just take the Monarch here. Okay, and here's a Seeker of the Way. So we're going to use our Lightning Bolts to kill the Enforcer and the Seeker. Oh, they got to use the Seeker for the One of Mind. Very good for them. Okay, we're going to use the Bolt now. Get that Seeker of the way out of the way. And I think we'll use the other Lightning Bolt now too. Get that Mirror Enforcer out of the way. Okay, so they did have a land that they hadn't played yet, so that could be a pretty big mistake on my side. Only having access to 1 mana now, I can no longer cast the Prismatic Strands. So if they have a Fling, then they can get me. And it looks like they do. Good morning, Crown. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Looks like we're going to start with Game 1 loss to ATOG. Nothing we can do about that. Okay, now that we know we're playing against ATOG, we can bring in Shenanigans. I'm doing okay, thanks for asking. Back to Pauper again, that's always a good time. We could bring in Standard Bearer. That would redirect the Fling and Temur Battle Rage to our creature. The Prismatic Strands are okay. Some of the creatures, as you saw, are going to be colorless, and that doesn't fit into the plan very well. We already have 2 Journeys and an Oblivion Ring, so I'm not too interested in bringing in another O-Ring. Guardian of the Guildpact will not block against their big creatures, so I'm fine with taking that out. Let's see here. Is there anything else in the deck I would like to take out? The Firebolt isn't massively impressive, but I like pretty much everything else. I'm not sure that any of these other cards would be better than Firebolt. So I think I'll just leave it like this. I'll bring in the Shenanigans and Standard Bearer, and I'll take out the Guardian of the Guildpact, which cannot block their artifacts. Or, rather, it can, but it will die. 4 mana for a 2/3 doesn't seem all that great. Oh, okay. You would cut the Sentinels, huh? I guess that is a pretty large mana investment. And then we start focusing too much on who's the Monarch. This hand is Great. We're definitely keeping this. We have a removal spell for their ATOG, and Faithless Looting to find whatever answers we need at the time. I'm actually fine with leaving the hand as is for now, though, and we'll use the Faithless Looting later on when we're looking for something specific or have some Squadron Hawks to discard. Okay, here's a Thraben Inspector. Turn 3 Thraben Inspector's not bad. We can crack the clue on the same turn, or rather the opponent's end of turn, leaving up Lightning Bolt that way. Okay, it looks like they're passing here. So we'll crack our clue. And find another land so we can play the Sentinels. Hey, Crames. Hey, that's part of what the YouTube is there for. If you can't catch it, or if it works better for you on YouTube, it's all good. But thanks for stopping by for sure. So we're going to attack with the Inspector and play the Sentinels and become the Monarch. And then we have a bunch of removal to be able to answer whatever they play next, so we can hold the Monarch for a couple of turns. I find that in general, if you can hold the Monarch for 2 turns, then you've achieved quite a sizable advantage. Okay, so they're going to respond with a Guildblast. That's fine, we will become the Monarch anyway. Get some errors. 5,000 over and over again. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, here's a Thought Cast. And it looks like they did manage to find something else. Ah, another Thought Cast. Okay. So again, they haven't put anything onto the board, and we're going to be able to keep the Monarch for another couple turns. We find a Seeker of the Way. That is fantastic. We are definitely playing that. Would be nice to be able to protect it, but it is what it is. We have Lightning Bolt to pump it up to a 3/3, but generally the opponent is going to be killing things with 3 or 4 damage at a time. So we do not have protection for the Seeker. Okay, here's a Prism. We're not worried about that. And an ATOG. So we'll give that a Journey to Nowhere on our turn, so our Seeker gets Prowess. I don't think there's anything else we want to do end of turn, so we'll just go ahead to our draw step. And we get another Rally the Peasants. We'll start with a Journey. Always yield, and exile their ATOG. Okay, that worked. Fantastic. Now we're going to Rally the Peasants, because we have a bunch of them, and we'll leave a red mana open for Lightning Bolt. Okay, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, we could do 13 total if we use a Lightning Bolt, but I would rather keep that as a source of removal for one of their creatures. We can just Rally the Peasants again on another turn. And we find Squadron Hawk, so that'll unlock our Faithless Lootings. Okay, here's a Mirror Enforcer. And another one. Those are going to be able to block our creatures quite well. And an Atog. Okay. Atog's a bit of a problem. And we find another Seeker. So, I would definitely like to cast Faithless Looting here. I think I can cast a Squadron Hawk first. I would have access to 3 mana left over. And this will give me some fodder for discard. So let's see here. I have 5 cards in hand. And I'm going to lose 1 down to 4. So I should be able to get at least 2 Hawks here. I should go for all 3, I think. It might have been better to double Rally the Peasants. But I would like to be able to set up a wide board first. Let's see what we draw with Faithless Looting. See if we can get another Journey to Nowhere or an Oblivion Stone. Okay, we find another Lightning Bolt instead, but we don't have the mana to cast it. We'll put the Squadron Hawks into the graveyard. And we'll cycle the step and see if we can find Journey to Nowhere. Either that or we could Rally the Peasants. Rally isn't going to win here, so I think that we're better off looking for either Journey to Nowhere or a red source for our Lightning Bolt. Okay, we find another Faithless Looting instead. So we could play a Squadron Hawk or a Seeker of the Way. We will, I think, play a Hawk here, get another flyer in, and then Rally the Peasants will be a nice gotcha card. But we'll have to survive this turn, which is a little bit of a problem. Let's see what we draw with the Monarch. We get the mountain we were looking for. But we can't play it because we drew it end of turn. So the opponent has an opportunity here. If they have Fling, we're basically dead. We have no untapped mana, so we can't stop it. Okay, they're attacking all. I think we will block here and here. This will necessitate them sacrificing an artifact to the Atog. And then we have a Skyforce, which would do 3, 6, which would do lethal if we get to untap. However, that is a big if here. The opponent could easily combo out with their Atog, and it looks like they're going to. So they can sacrifice... Oh, no, they've only just grown it once, and now they're taking the Monarch, so we are going to get a turn. Let's see what they do with the rest of their mana. Okay, they're leaving their mana open. That seems wise. And we find Standard Bearer. Excellent. So let's see here. We have 5, 6, 7 mana. If we play Standard Bearer and then Rally the Peasants, Bolt Bolt, I think that would do it. So we'll start with the Standard Bearer and see if that elicits a response. If the opponent wants to do anything, they have to get through the Standard Bearer. Electrickery would be quite good from the opponent's side, though. I have no answer to that. Okay, they're going to Guildpact one of our Hawks. We have to let that happen. Okay, so at this point, I'm thinking I want to play Seeker of the Way. And then leave up Double Bolt. They will not be able to fling. They will not be able to Temur Battle Rage as long as we have the Standard Bearer in play. And I would like to attack with the Squadron Hawk so I can take the Monarch back. Okay, we're going to pass here. We want double Lightning Bolt up. And we find Wind-Scarred Crag, which will gain us a life next turn, unless we find a better land. You board in a couple of Pyroblasts, you say. Is that to counter their Thought Casts? I'm definitely seeing what you mean about the Monarch. I'm thinking here at this point that I would like to either Lightning Bolt their Atog or Lightning Bolt them. We could Lightning Bolt them, give the Seeker of the Way lifelink, block the Atog. I don't mind taking the 8. It's whatever else they have in their hand that could be a problem. And Seeker of the Way will gain us life. Yeah, and I think we have seen that they are playing Serpent. If they want to sacrifice another artifact, that's fine. The Hydroblast does counter the Lightning Bolt, but our Seeker of the Way has still grown. And now it's grown so big that it will eat the Atog, meaning they have to sacrifice another artifact if they want to keep it around. It will also gain us 4 life, unless they have Guildblast. But Guildblast would hit the Standard Bearer and not the Seeker. So we do have enough mana to Rally the Peasants twice. So that would be 4, 8, 9, 10 damage, which is threatening lethal now. But they do have 3 cards in hand, so they could easily have an answer, and going up to 4 now. Okay, we find Battle Screech. That's pretty good. That'll let us go wide if we want to take that plan. Or we could try and win right now. Between the Rally the Peasants in the graveyard and the one in our hand, we have lethal damage on the table. The problem with that is if they have Guildblast. I think I'm going to go for it now and let the chips fall where they may. We do have enough mana to Faithless Looting first. So let's see what we draw from the Faithless Looting, and then we can decide if we want to go for the win. Okay. Okay, they do have something. Dispel. And we have enough mana left for a Battle Screech, but not the flashback. So let's see here. That would be 6 damage if we put the rally through. So we'll just let this happen. They'll take 2, and then we'll Battle Screech. Okay. We get the Journey to Nowhere we've been looking for. At this point, the opponent has so few resources, I don't think they would be able to kill us with ATOG regardless. But I would be looking to throw 1 bird in front of the ATOG just in case. They could sacrifice 1, 2, 3 artifacts. Okay, they're fling, getting rid of the standard bearer now. And that got rid of one of their beefy enforcers. And we're still at 18 life. Let's count their artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 12. So they don't quite have enough to kill us with a fling, but they could kill us with TBR. Looks like that's what they have. Oh, no, they didn't have it. Okay, we do have lethal with flyers here, if they don't have an answer. And we can Journey to Nowhere the ATOG, if they do answer the Rally the Peasants. Okay, here's a Guildpact targeted at us. They have 1 card left in hand. Oh, this could be it. They could be sacrificing their artifacts now and then fling. Wow. Good job from the opponent. Very well navigated. My hat's off to you. Okay, we have no lands here, so this is a mulligan. Not a great hand, but if we survive for a few turns, we'll be filling the air with flyers. We'll keep this and we'll get rid of a land. I think we can get rid of the basic plains here. We can play Wind-Scarred Crag into plains. We'll have double white. And we'll just need to draw 1 more land. Okay, let's see what they're on. I'm assuming either Tron or Familiars, because those are the 2 best decks in the format. Okay, this is red and white. And if I hit 6 during their turn, okay, no. They're moving quite quickly. So this could be maybe Boros Monarch. Okay, we find Seeker of the Way. I would rather play that over Squadron Hawk. Okay, another Prophetic Prism. So we're going to be able to hit them for a few damage here. They could still have Lightning Bolt. Okay, they're going to get rid of the Seeker of the Way with a Guildpact. So at this point, I'm thinking they're probably on Boros Monarch. We're going to play a Squadron Hawk here. And we'll fill our hand back up. Okay, here's a Glint Hawk. So it is looking more and more like Boros Monarch. A very similar deck to what we're playing, but they're more mid-range, we're more aggro. Oh, really? I didn't realize that Monarch was playing Suffocating Fumes. I figured they would have just went for Electrickery out of the board. Okay, so they are splashing blue. Fairly easy to splash colors in this deck when they're running Prophetic Prism. Okay, at this point I would like to Battle Screech and flash back. Okay, and then we'll pass here. The Rally the Peasants and the other Battle Screech will make quick work of our opponent if they can't answer our board of flyers. We have no problem taking 2 damage here. Navigator's Compass gains them 3 life. Is this a draw spell of some kind? Oh, I see. Well, that makes sense. Oh, here's a Gear Seeker's Serpent. That's a bit of a shock. I hadn't seen that before in this kind of a list. I must be behind the times. Okay. And a Thraben Inspector. Okay, so let's do a quick count of our damage. Looks like 15 damage to me, so that's not lethal. We have access to 5 mana, so we cannot Rally the Peasants twice. We could Rally the Peasants and Lightning Bolt. That would be 15, 16, 18. Again, not lethal. So I'm thinking we probably attack with everything, hold 1 thing back, and then Battle Screech twice, and then set up for lethal next turn. This would also hold up Lightning Bolt, so we can get rid of their Glint Hawk. Okay, we'll pass here and hope that we can survive a turn with our board. Okay, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 damage would put us to 11. And then they have access to 3 mana. Galvblast into another spell would kill us. We could block the Serpent. Let's go to blocks here and see if they'll let us block the Serpent. Okay, now we only take 3, going to 16. That's fine. We can keep the Bolt. And another Thraben Inspector. And a Compass. It's looking pretty good for us at this point. Let's hit them with a Lightning Bolt. They have no flyers. We don't have to worry about that. And if we draw land, we don't. I was just seeing if we could do like a maximum amount of damage. Rally the Peasants is an instant, so we can go ahead and attack first. Okay, they have a Galvblast. So now we're looking at, what is this? 7 times 3 is still 21. That's enough. Okay, so how are we gonna fight the Mardu Monarch post board? Electrickery doesn't seem very good. Their creatures are going to have more toughness than 1. Pyroblast, again, not really feeling it. They're generally more a white and red deck. Standard Bearer, not really great. It would eat a Lightning Bolt or Guildblast or Journey to Nowhere. But most of our creatures are just tokens anyways, so that doesn't seem too great. Shenanigans seems okay. Would be able to destroy their lands and some of their prisms. And then there's also the question of, do we want to bring in the 4th Prismatic Strands? Could be quite useful in holding on to the Monarch. Guardian of the Guildpact seems quite good here. What do you think, Crown? Hey there, handsome. Thanks for dropping by. Got that MtG bot working. Yeah, I figured Guardian was good. I'm just not too sure what I want to take out here. Could perhaps take out a couple of Faithless Lootings. They are card disadvantage. Yeah, there's no answer to that question because we haven't quite reached the depths. Maybe a Rally the Peasants, you think, huh? I don't mind taking out the Firebolt. I think the Firebolt hits almost nothing in their deck. Would be quite good against their Glint Hawks, but otherwise, not that impressive. So we'll take out a Faithless Looting and a Firebolt to bring in Shenanigans and a 4th Prismatic Strands. I would expect the opponent to have Prismatic Strands. Incredibly powerful card. I see no reason why Boros wouldn't play at least a pair. But it's been a little while since I've played the Boros deck. Okay, so we have a very slow hand here. We would be able to take the Monarch, and we do have access to Prismatic Strands, but this is really not what our deck is about. Our opponent is going to be able to play a slow game much better than us. We're going to mulligan this and see if we can find a more aggressive hand. This hand is even worse. Okay, so this is something that we can work with. We'll put the Ash Barrens. Put the Ash Barrens to the bottom. And probably another one of the lands. Probably the Mountain. So we can work up towards Guardian of the Guildpact. But I want to be able to cast the Shenanigans for sure, and the Seeker of the Way is pretty good too. Being able to kill their lands turn after turn after turn could be quite good. Okay, we find another land. Excellent. So we're looking for one more to get the Guardian of the Guildpact onto the board. There's their Thraben Inspector. And a Great Furnace. And a Relic. Personally, I'm leaning towards hitting the Great Furnace right away and taking them off mana. Although there is a world where Seeker would be pretty good here. We are worried about the removal they have in hand. So if we Shenanigans now, we're setting them back. Whereas if we played the Seeker, they might just be able to advance by removing the Seeker and... oh, of course, that was foolish of me because of the Relic of Progenitus. But it is still a 2-mana Stone Rain, so I think that's fine. Okay, we're going to be looking for one more land so we can get the Guardian out on turn 4. But this is a pretty good turn. We can play 2 creatures here, and they don't have access to red mana. Now, there is an option here to crack the clue to look for the land, but I would rather get 2 creatures out. Okay, they're getting rid of the relic here, so our Rally the Peasants will be a little bit better that way. I imagine they were looking for a land as well, and they found one. Okay, here's the Serpent. They cast that so easily. That is impressive. I definitely appreciate that. Being able to throw down a Gear Seeker Serpent for 3 mana in a Boros deck, that's pretty cool. So now we're going to be looking for a Journey to Nowhere for that Serpent. Okay, we find Squadron Hawk. So we really wanted a land here, but we missed. I'm actually leaning towards cracking my clue just to try and find the land for the Hawk. We miss. Okay. We do have Prismatic Strands, which is nice, but otherwise we are stumbling on mana here. It was the opponent that was supposed to stumble, not us. Okay, they found another red source. And I imagine they'll attack with the Serpent here. Serpent alone. We're fine with throwing our Thraben Inspector under the bus. It is important to keep a rather high life total, but they might be afraid of Lightning Bolt here, so they might hold back. Okay. No fear from the opponent. We're going to preserve our life total. The opponent has access to 4 Lightning Bolts and 4 Guildblast, so they can burn us out. And here's a Core Skyfisher. I imagine they return a Thraben Inspector with that. And we find our land, so we can play the Guardian. Well, I mean, the Inspector didn't say anything about it, so I'm sure they're fine. Okay, so they can attack for 2 in the air. And now we can start getting our squadron together. Here's an ATOG. Okay, so this isn't a Boros Monarch deck. This is straight up Jeskai ATOG. And look at that board the opponent has put together. Very impressive. So we'll have to choose between blocking the ATOG and the Serpent with the Guardian. We have Prismatic Strands to be able to stop the ATOG in the worst case scenario. But for this turn, I would like to get some Squadron Hawks out, and then we can worry about keeping Prismatic Strands up for the next turn. So we're going to have to survive through this turn here. Okay. We are not going to attack. Unfortunately, we are on the defense here. Not exactly the place that we want to be as the bully deck, but it is what it is. Looks like Fisher coming in alone. We're fine with that. No blocks. We'll take 2. And we're allowed to untap, so we have access to our Prismatic Strands now. So let's do a quick count. We have 6 mana. Prismatic Strands cost 3, so we have access to 3 mana left over. We can play a Squadron Hawk. But unfortunately, we will have to keep the rest of our mana open. Also, we cannot be attacking with our Squadron Hawks here. They have Glint Hawk to block. Common board wipes. No, we didn't bring in any Electrickery because our board wipes don't hit the opponent very well. And we wouldn't want to be playing the, what is that card? It deals 5 damage to everything, but only if you have Threshold. Okay, so it looks like they're just passing back to us. We drop Battle Screech. But if we play the Screech, we do not have access to Prismatic Strands. So we're really going to be looking for another land before we play the Screech. Yeah, I know Squadron Hawks should really be carrying swords. Maybe we could give them a Bone Splitter, huh? Okay, we find Faithless Looting. We can actually put Prismatic Strands into the graveyard with that. And then we can cast our Battle Screech. So let's see what we draw. Oh, are they going to be... They're countering the Faithless Looting. Okay. So let's see here. If I flash that back, I don't have mana for the Prismatic Strands anymore. There's enchantments that pump up the team when a creature enters the battlefield. That's interesting. What enchantments are those? Okay, so we're both just passing back and forth. I'm going to try and flash back the Faithless Looting. See if we can draw a land. And put one of the strands into the graveyard. Okay, we get everything that we wanted. Unfortunately, we would have to play the Ash Barrens as is. So how would I play this? I could put Prismatic Strands, Boros Garrison, or I think Prismatic Strands, Battle Screech into the graveyard. And then I can just go wide when I play Ash Barrens Battle Screech and leave a creature up so that I can flash back my Prismatic Strands from the graveyard. Don't expose yourself to Dispel. Oh, good point. Good point. So you're thinking we want to keep up a second Strands? So that we can have both. Okay, good call. Thank you. We'll go slow. That does mean we can flash back the Battle Screech. And I think we leave the Seeker of the Way back. They could just block it with the Gear Seeker Serpent. We would gain 4 life, but it's not worth it to throw our Seeker under the bus like that. And if we don't need to cast the Strands, we can cycle the Ash Barrens and take another land out of our deck. The problem with cycling the Ash Barrens is we would lose to Fling plus Dispel. They do have 5 cards in hand. I think we can just leave it and play it safe here too. We'll play the Plains that they knew about and cast a Battle Screech. Okay, and we'll pass the turn again. And we'll be looking to attack in next turn. We'll have Rally the Peasants twice, and hopefully that'll do lethal. Let's see here, we have access to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. That's exactly how much mana we want. Looks like they might be activating the Gear Seeker Serpent or thinking better of it. Okay, here's the Navigator's Compass. I didn't even think they were Affinity at first. I thought they were Boros. Okay, we have plenty of mana here, so we're going to cycle the Ash Barrens. And we find Lightning Bolt. Very cool. Okay, so we'll play this, and we'll go ahead and attack. I think we just attack all here. We probably want to keep 1 creature back so that we can use the Prismatic Strands in the graveyard. So we'll keep the Guardian of the Guildpact back. You want to keep back 2? Okay. This way, keeping back 2, they won't be able to removal spell and take us off of Prismatic Strands. Okay, we'll flash it back. So our creatures get +4/+0. Maximum Strands. Okay, our opponent does have something here. Guildblast, killing one of our creatures. So we could protect our creatures from red here. Let's do a quick count on what kind of damage we're doing and if that's really necessary. So we have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And then we have another 6 is 36. Minus 5. So if they're only killing one Squadron Hawk, we're still fine. We'll let that resolve. I do believe this is still lethal. They might have... Oh, they have Electrickery. So we're going to Prismatic Strands, protection from red now. I don't understand this. Apply your damage replacement effects. Click on the shield to prevent damage to players. Click OK to automatically choose. What does that mean? Aren't my creatures just protection from something? Oh, it's because of the Guardian here. Okay. Because the Guardian was protected in 2 ways. That's why it got a little bit funky. Hey, we got there. This hand looks fine. Totally fine. We're going to keep this. Thraben Inspector into Squadron Hawk. And we're fighting, let's see, our basic Island Ponder. That's interesting. Usually when you see an island into Ponder, it's snow-covered. So we might be facing a Dimir deck that doesn't feel it's necessary to bluff being Izzet. I admit, when I was playing Dimir, I cheaped out and got the regular islands instead of these snow-covered ones, just because the deck was so much cheaper that way. Ah, Urza's Tower. Okay, so we're actually playing against Urzatron. You froze. Okay, so we're getting a lot of lands here. We could cycle the Secluded Steppe and play the Boros Garrison. We could put a Squadron Hawk into play. Personally, I'm leaning towards Squadron Hawk. We only would need to get 2 of them to keep our hand full. And I would like to get some creatures on the board quickly as possible for the Rally the Peasants. So we'll play basic Mountain Squadron Hawk. Okay, we have 5 cards in hand, so we'll get 2 Hawks. And pass back to the opponent. Okay, so they're most of the way to Tron now. And they got a Prismatic Lens. That's an interesting one. 5 cards left in hand. Any type of mana, any color of mana they wish. And 1 land off of Tron. Very scary. Okay, we find Seeker of the Way. That's a cool card. We're going to want to attack and play Seeker of the Way, and then play our Boros Garrison. Now, if we play the Boros Garrison, yeah, we'll still have 7 cards in hand, so that's fine. I'm thinking we'll pick up the Plains. Worst matchup for us? Indeed. And they found the Tron as well. Turn 4 Tron. If they can infinite fog us, then we're just dead. Okay, here's a Mull Drifter. keeps their hand flush with cards. We're going to want to get aggressive quite quickly here. But I would like to take a turn to play the 2 Squadron Hawks so we can max out our creature aggressiveness and then start going for Rally the Peasants the turn after that. They already have plenty of mana up for counter spells, so we're not going to be able to Rally the Peasants this turn through their counter magic, I don't think. Okay, yes, we'll pull the final Squadron Hawk out of the deck. Now, something we could do here is we could attack with the Seeker of the Way and bluff having a spell. So if they block with a Muldrifter, then it's toast. The disadvantage of that is that we don't actually have a spell. Proactive decks, I would say the best one is Stompy. Stompy is a fantastic aggressive deck. Bogles is also quite good. Basically, if it's good against Tron, then you're doing okay. Goblins has actually been making a bit of a splash as well. I'm a fan of the Goblins deck. I think we're just going to play Squadron Hawk and pass. So the question is, am I fine with trading a Seeker of the Way for the Muldrifter? Seeker could potentially do way more damage when I Rally the Peasants, and even if they counter the spell, it gets the Prowess trigger, so I don't want to throw it away. This does give them access to Mystical Teachings, which is going to go get them Fog. Oh no, they get Ephemerate instead. So they could already have the Fog in hand, or maybe they're playing a deck that doesn't rely on the Fog mechanic. Would be a surprise, though. Moment's Peace is very strong in the Tron decks. Being able to cast it repeatedly with their Mnemonic Walls. Okay, no blocks. Oh, this is probably the Elephant. Oh, no, it's an Ephemerate first, so they're going to draw some cards. I was thinking when I saw them tap the white mana, they were going to cast that Elephant that turns off my combat step. Okay, here's Mnemonic Wall, probably targeting the Teachings. It is. So that's just going to give them ridiculous amounts of value. And they have access to 4, 5, 6 mana. Okay, we get Battle Screech. And we have access to 5 mana total. We could Rally the Peasants. I don't mind that. We might be going right into a Fog, though. It is suspect that they didn't search it out when they grabbed the Ephemerate. I would have figured that would be the first card they would grab. I think you're right. I'm going to go ahead and attack and see what happens. But I think you're right. I think the opponent has already outvalued us. Okay, so they have a lot of options here. They can, yep, there it is, Moment's Peace. Okay, so nothing happens in the combat. We can play land Squadron Hawk, or we can cycle Secluded Steppe and play the Boros Garrison. Let's try and draw some cards here. Okay, we find another Garrison. We're going to try and play this a little bit faster because honestly, I don't really see us spending too much more time in this game. Oh, and they have the Ghostly Flicker as well. So they have it all. Ghostly Flicker, Moment's Peace, Mull Drifter, Mnemonic Wall, and all the mana. I don't think we're going to be coming back from this at all. We're going to go ahead and stop wasting time and go into sideboard. I do believe that the various blast cards, Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast, are going to do okay, countering some of their important blue spells. We're also going to bring in the 3 Molten Rain to hit their Tron lands. Let's see here. Journey to Nowhere. We're going to take that out. Guardian of the Guildpact. Maybe we take out Palace Sentinels as well. My thought process is I want to be as aggressive as possible and have counter spells to stop their searches. You can take out the Firebolt for a Red Elemental Blast. You would cut the strands? I think you're right. We don't need to be worrying about the damage the opponent is doing. We can take all the strands out. Bring the Palace Sentinels back in that case. I think I prefer the Sentinels to the Guardian. We would rather have the Monarch as opposed to a creature that just can't attack. Now, the advantages of the Journey to Nowhere and the Oblivion Ring is they can hit that damn elephant. Yeah, the Shenanigans does seem quite good. Being able to hit their mana rocks, taking them off of their colors of mana. I would like to bring in the Journeys, though, just to hit their damn elephants. So we'll take out 2 Faithless Looting, we'll leave 2 of them in, and we'll bring in the Journeys for their elephants. Okay, this hand is fine. We're going to keep. Yeah, I haven't seen Dinrova very much lately. Okay, our opponent has kept 7. Okay, we'll get our clue and pass. Okay, so they have colored mana. We're going to want to play Squadron Hawk here. And we'll attack with Inspector Clouseau. Let's see here. When we play the Squadron Hawk, we go down to 4 cards, so we can grab all the Hawks. And we'll pass back. Okay, so they have their Prophetic Prism, giving them access to colored mana. But we're going to be able to hold up Pyroblast from now on. And we draw Palace Sentinels. Okay, we'll play a Plains so that we can hold up the red mana. We're looking to counter probably their Search spell. But we'll see what opportunities present themselves. Okay, here's Prismatic Lens. I would expect them to have another land. It's a secondary tower. And another prism. So they have access to all kinds of colors of mana here. But they are tapped out. Can we draw Rally the Peasants? Not this time. So I'm thinking play Squadron Hawk, play Boros Garrison, return Plains. Either that or Plains Palace Sentinels become the Monarch. It would take down the Pyroblast for a turn. But I think that would be fine. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and become the Monarch. It is difficult for Tron to take this away from us. So who knows? Maybe we'll deck ourselves. Okay, we find Battle Screech. And we are tapped out, so this is the opponent's opportunity to do anything they want. And it looks like probably a Muldrifter. No, there's the damn elephant. Oh, it's a rhino, not an elephant. I was thinking that it was one of those Loxodons. In any event, it has 4 toughness, so that's a pain. Okay, Mountain. So we can play Battle Screech, flashback Battle Screech, and hold up Pyroblast. All the birds. And we'll pass. No attacks. We find another Battle Screech. Here's a Ponder, that's fine. We're really looking to counter a Blink spell. If they try and blink the Stonehorn Dignitary, we're going to try and stop that. Okay, looks like they're passing the turn here. So we'll leave our mana up. And now we get to go to combat. So we can attack in the air. And we can leave back Palace Sentinels and Thraben Inspector so that they can't take the Monarch away from us. We also have access to Battle Screech and Squadron Hawks, which would allow us to continue to fill out the board. So if we leave these creatures back and just attack in the air, we should be able to cast the Screech. Okay. See if they'll cast a spell here. I don't think they will. I think they'll just take 6 damage. Leaves them at 10. They still have plenty of a buffer. They are taking their time to think, so they might already have Moment's Peace in their hand. Oh, this is a black mana. They're using Suffocating Fumes, which is an instant. And that's going to get pretty much everything off the board here. Okay, so we're going to need to rebuild. They are basically tapped out. They have access to 1 mana, but we have no removal. So we could Battle Screech and flash back, and then play Boros Garrison and hold up Pyroblast. Now, it should be quite obvious to the opponent what we have here. We've been holding up a single red land for a couple of turns now. So I'm sure they realize that we have Pyroblast in hand. And we find a Faithless Looting. Fantastic. Be able to throw some of these lands away and hopefully find some spells. Okay, here's Mnemonic Wall. That would return Suffocating Fumes. We can't have that, so we're going to try and counter this spell. The opponent probably has a way to counter our Pyroblast. But if they take it, then they won't have mana to Moment's Peace. Okay, they're holding up Moment's Peace instead. Okay, we find another land. Let's start with a Faithless Looting and see what we draw into. Okay, we find another Sentinels and some more lands. I'm actually leaning towards recasting the Faithless Looting here. Okay, we find another Pyroblast. Fantastic. We'll keep our spells. And we'll hold back a couple creatures just attacking the air. Whatever we hit the Rhino with will just bounce off. Okay, and we'll put a Seeker of the Way into the play or a Squadron Hawk. Let's put a Seeker in because it won't die to Suffocating Fumes. And we'll pass here. Okay, the opponent is just passing. So they've got 4 spells in hand. Find another land. Let's go to combat. And this time we will attack all. And we expect them to Moment's Peace. Oh, nice, another Pyroblast. Okay, so Moment's Peace. We're going to have a hard time doing any damage. We'll play another Thraben Inspector. And draw a card. Okay, we'll play another Thraben Inspector. And pass back, holding up 2 Pyroblasts. Okay, they have something here. Exclude. So this does draw them a card. But it's not the kind of spell that we're worried about. What we're worried about is Mnemonic Wall and Ghostly Flicker. Okay, here's a cast down to kill a Thraben Inspector. Yeah, okay, bud. So that means that they will be able to take the Monarch away from us, and that is actually quite bad. Nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. We do not draw a double lightning bolt, so they will be able to take the Monarch, and we will not be able to take it back because of Moment's Peace. So we got a little bit overzealous with our attack. Should have held one more creature back, but I did not expect them to be counterspell cast down on my 2 Thraben Inspectors. My bad. Okay, this could be a Flicker, or perhaps a Mull Drifter. I think I would counter Mull Drifter. They're evoking it because they have Flicker in hand. So we're going to stop them from drawing those extra cards. They would have drawn 4 cards with this Mull Drifter if they do indeed have Ghostly Flicker in hand. Okay, this is Ephemerate on the Dignitary. Nothing we can do about that, so we will not be able to attack. But we can take back the Monarch with our Palace Sentinels, so that's quite good. And we find Shenanigans. So that's very interesting. We can destroy one of their mana rocks. We would like to be able to kill their Dignitary, but they will be able to blink that again on next turn with the Ephemerate. So what we're looking at now is definitely playing the Palace Sentinels to take back the Monarch. Okay, we got it. And then I think I want to play the Shenanigans to destroy probably one of their prisms. I suppose the Prismatic Lens is actually better once it's on the battlefield, because this also produces a colorless mana. Although the Prophetic Prisms, they can blink them. They already have 1, I wouldn't be able to take 2 right away. So it is pretty close between hitting Prism and Prismatic Lens. I think I'm going to take the Prism so that I can get the other Prism next turn. And we are starting to look very low on time here as well. Okay, here's the Flicker. So we're going to want to counter the Flicker. And they're out of cards. And we're out of counter magic. Okay, we'll play the Boros Garrison and return one of these tapped planes. And we cannot attack because of that damn Rhino, but we will draw a card. I can put Shenanigans back in my hand right now. I don't mind doing that. Let's go ahead and put Shenanigans in my hand. And we lose out on Mountain. That's fine. Ephemerate will blink the Dignitary. So again, we lose our combat step. Okay, they have all the mana, but no cards. And we find Molten Rain off the top. Okay. Let's get rid of... Let's see here. Which one did they just play? Not that it matters. They just played the Power Plant, so let's get rid of that. Okay, we'll Shenanigans on the Prophetic Prism. Okay. The question is, do we want to play the Squadron Hawks into potential removal, such as Suffocating Fumes? I think we're fine with that. The opponent has no cards left in hand, so we'll just hold up the red mana in case we draw a red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast, and we'll play out our hand and see if we can win next turn. I think we'll probably be drawing the Shenanigans again, so that we can trigger the Seeker of the Way and get rid of the Prismatic Lens. But actually, no, we're not going to draw that. We're going to try and draw a Counterspell. Okay, we get Rally the Peasants. Very nice. They do have access to Moment's Peace, as well as green mana, so we will not be able to kill them this turn. And they are passing. I will take the Shenanigans this time, though. And we will get rid of their Prophetic Prism. Let's see if they have something in hand that's relevant. If they have Ghostly Flicker, I'm in quite a bit of trouble. No, we managed to get their artifact. Okay, let's move to combat. So we're going to leave a few things back here. We'll leave back the Sentinels. 1, 2, they have one card in hand. Okay, we'll attack like this. We expect them to block Seeker of the Way and use Moment's Peace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I should have attacked with the Palace Sentinels to make it lethal. That was my mistake. They're able to just block Seeker of the Way and not do much else and still survive. But that would be risky because they would be dead to Lightning Bolt. So again, I imagine them to just block the Seeker and use Moment's Peace. Okay, they block the Sentinels instead. 4, 7, 8, 9. This puts them to 1. My mistake for not attacking with more creatures. But I was scared of them taking the Monarch away from me with the use of Moment's Peace. Okay, they're going to cast it anyways, even though my attack is not lethal. I believe that means I do not gain the life either. Not that that is a big deal. So we're down to 9 minutes on our clock and over 12 minutes on the opponent's. We'll pass the turn. And we'll see if we can draw a Counterspell. We get Journey to Nowhere instead. Journey to Nowhere is what we need for that damn Rhino. Okay, land. So we know they have one card in hand, and it looks like they're interested in casting it. Looks like a Muldrifter. No, this is a Mnemonic Wall. Unfortunately, we have no answer. So they will be able to get their Suffocating Fumes back, which will kill all of my birds. Will they have enough mana to cast it, though? Yes, I'm pretty sure they will. Mono Green Infect is playable, yes, but it suffers from a few problems. Once they banned Invigorate, the deck really kind of fell off the surface of the earth. I've definitely still seen people play it, but it just has never been the same since then. I think that Boggles is just the better deck, personally, but it is definitely playable. I haven't actually seen anyone go into your blue-green Infect, though, in Pauper. Would give you access to some counter magic, so that might be something that would be worthwhile. Okay, so they're flickering the wall and the Dignitary, which means I cannot attack. And yeah, and mono green Stompy is very, very strong. What is that? The Grizzly Strike was a huge gain for that deck when it was printed. So I think that we've pretty much hit garbage time here. Our opponent has the Flicker with Mnemonic Wall and Dignitary, so we cannot attack, and they can continuously flicker these cards. And if we play Journey to Nowhere, they have the Flicker ready to go. So we can't actually journey either of these creatures. We do still have the Monarch, but at this point, we're actually just going to mill ourselves out rather than draw into much of anything. So we need to find Pyroblast or Red Elemental Blast. We're just going to be drawing cards. We're going to leave the Shenanigans where it is. They already have access to the blue mana that they're going to need. So we can't take them off of blue mana by hitting their lens, for example. Here we basically have nothing. Let's see here. Forgotten Cave is already in the graveyard. Yeah, not much we can do here. We're going to draw a couple cards, go through a couple turns with a Monarch, see if we can draw into another Pyroblast. But it looks like we've lost this game, unfortunately. We did get very close. But if we cannot find another counterspell to stop their Ghostly Flicker, we're doomed. Doomed! Okay, here's the Flicker again. Let's cycle the step. And we find Molten Rain. That's interesting. Get them off of Tron again. Let's play a couple more turns and see what happens. Okay, they're grabbing Ephemerate. They'll be able to Ephemerate the wall, get back the Flicker. And then when they Ephemerate the wall again, they can get Suffocating Fumes. Okay, I expect them to grab Flicker with this, and they do. Yeah, that's very true. If they had grabbed an ornament, we would have been able to get rid of it with the Shenanigans. No, I agree. We are very close to garbage time here. I have the Molten Rain to take them off Tron again. So we're going to try a couple more draws and see if we can find some counter magic. But I agree, I think we're dead. Molten Rain, the power plant. And even if we do win, we only have 7.5 minutes to get through. Looks like they have counter magic of their own. They have the Ghostly Flicker to flicker the power plant, of course. Okay, we're going to concede here and move on to the next match. Okay, so we have a bunch of removal and Faithless Looting, but I would prefer to be finding some creatures here. I'm going to mulligan. This is a little bit better. And we're going to get rid of... What do we get rid of here? I'm thinking either Plains or Faithless Looting. I think I'll get rid of the Faithless Looting and move into what we have here on board instead of trying to find something better. We don't want a Faithless Looting when we're already down on cards. And we could draw another one later. We do have 4 in the deck. Oh my, look at that. That is a beautiful island. And a Fairy Seer. So with a basic island like that and a Fairy Seer, we're probably playing against Dimir Control. The Dimir Fairies deck. Okay, Squadron Hawk. So we'll gain a life and pass. And if they play Ninja, then we're going to Journey to Nowhere. Okay, they Ash Barrens instead, so we don't have to worry about Ninja this turn. And Preordain. We'll put the Squadron Hawk out, and that'll trade with the Fairy Seer, so they can't put a Ninja into play on turn 3. Okay, so this puts us to 5 cards, so we only grab 2 Squadron Hawks. And we'll pass back. Okay, here's Augur Bolas. Palace Sentinels is going to be a little bit of a problem here. Ah, Prismatic Strands, fantastic. That makes the Palace Sentinels that much better. I'm thinking we're just going to want a Squadron Hawk and play the Wind-Scarred Crag. I think that's the best use of our mana this turn, and then we can Battle Screech next turn, provided they don't have counter magic. Let's see here. We are going to play a land, so we can grab the final Squadron Hawk. And I think that we probably attack with a Squadron Hawk here. Maybe we'll hold it back so that they can't remove one and attack with the Fairy Seer, but they can already attack with the Bolas, and that can bring their Ninja in. So if they do have Ninja, we can hopefully send that on a Journey to Nowhere. But that counts on them not playing an island here. If they have Island or Swamp, they have access to Spellstutter Sprite, which can counter our Journey to Nowhere. So I think we're more interested in Battle Screech and going wide. They will not be able to counterspell this unless they have Negate, and their deck usually does not play Negate. Okay, they are hesitating for a bit here, but our spell did resolve, so we'll go ahead and cast it a second time. And if they want to send Ninja into a bunch of birds, that's fine, we will block. So we'll leave our creatures back so that we can block both of their creatures. They could potentially turn a removal spell onto one of our birds, but we would be fine with that trade if they wanted to trade removal spell for a bird, and then we would lose a second bird to their Ninja. That's totally fine. Okay, they're only attacking with Ninja, not the Fairy Seer as well, so we're going to triple block. So this way, removal spell no longer blows us out. They will lose the Ninja. Ah, Agony Warp instead. Very good, opponent. Was not thinking of that. Okay, they can take out all of our cards, but they do not draw a card with their Ninja. Let's see if they tap down, and we can Journey to Nowhere. No, they're going to hold up Spellstutter Sprite. Okay, so we can play Palace Sentinels to get the Monarch. They could potentially counterspell that, though. I'm actually leaning towards Squadron Hawk and see if they play Spellstutter Sprite, and if they do, we can journey to nowhere their ninja. So let's try that. This is bait. Okay, they did not take the bait. Okay, I don't think I want to play another Squadron Hawk into a potential... Actually, no, I definitely do. This is still bait. And if they hit it, that's a Spellstutter Sprite out of their hand, which will not hit Journey to Nowhere. So we're fine with that trade. I could attack here, but I would rather hold them back to try and kill that ninja. Ah, Snuff Out. They can pay a bunch of life to kill one of our tokens. No, I do not play very much Commander. I played a little bit of Dual Commander in the past. I like to play Varolz, the Scar Striped, but I haven't played Commander in quite some time. What about you, Crown? You a Commander player? So I would like to block the Spellstutter Sprite with 1, and then the Ninja the Deep Hours with 3. We know they have Snuff Out, so they can get rid of one of our tokens for 4 life. And we're fine with trading our tokens away if we manage to kill one of these ninjas. Okay, it looks like we got the ninja down. Are they going to tap off of Counterspell? It would be quite a risk to play the Palace Sentinels this turn. With them having 2 creatures and one of them flying, they could easily take the Monarch away from us. Okay. We don't have any good plays here. Very cool. So I think we're just going to pass. We really don't have any good plays. They have counter magic up for Palace Sentinels, and even if we did play it, they have Snuff Out and would be able to take the Monarch away from us. Okay, we can take 1, that's no problem. And they're going to bring in... Nope, that's not a ninja. That's a Brainstorm looking for a ninja. Oh, that's pretty cool. And I bet having the Monarch go back and forth in a Commander game is something that's going to get people to be acting aggressively. Cool, cool. See you later, Crown. Okay, looks like they're holding up counter magic still. And they have a Cast Down in hand. So they have Snuff Out and Cast Down. We got a bunch of cards, but none of them line up very well. Sure wish I had that Faithless Looting. Okay, here's a Gurmag Angler. If we get a chance, we're sending that on a journey. But they kept up 4 blue mana, so they probably have access to Spellstutter Sprite and Counterspell. We're fine with taking 2 damage here. If they do make a Ninja, we could Strands, but they don't. So we'll just take our turn. We find another Sentinels. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and play a Sentinels down, and if they try and take the Monarch away from us in combat, we can play another one. And if they have Counterspell, we can Journey to Nowhere their Gurmag Angler. Do expect actual Counterspell here. But they might just let it resolve and expect to take the Monarch away from us in combat. It's a very reasonable thing to think. Okay. They were thinking about it. Okay, there's the Counterspell. They have 2 mana left, so they probably still have access to something for the Journey to Nowhere. I don't want to throw my Journey to Nowhere under a Spellstutter Sprite. We're just going to pass and hold up Prismatic Strands. Okay, Brainstorm. One of the things about Brainstorm and Fetch lands is we don't know exactly what they have in their hand. They could have got rid of the Snuff Out at any time. Okay, here's a Thorn of the Black Rose. So they're taking the Monarch. We're going to want to take it back. They'll leave the Fairy Seer back, that's for sure. So I think we do Prismatic Strands here. We'll do it before blocks, so we know what's going on. See if we can go ahead and prevent black damage. Okay, so we'll only take 2 this turn. Okay, we find Seeker of the Way. So we're going to start with Journey to Nowhere. That works. Okay, we'll take the Gurmag Angler away. Now we can play Palace Sentinels, and then hopefully Prismatic Strands to keep the Monarch. But I expect the opponent has Counterspell here, and they were just holding it back, sandbagging it for a better spell. This is the spell here. This is the spell the opponent wants to counter, that and the Prismatic Strands in the graveyard. Okay, they do have the Counterspell there. So we're in a huge amount of trouble. We have an opponent that has superior board state, equal cards in hand, and the Monarch. So we're going to play through till our next turn and see if we can draw something gas. Okay, we get Faithless Looting. That's a start. Okay, we just draw lands. We're going to concede. Okay, we're going to want to bring in all of our blasts here to be able to counter their blue spells. I'm thinking that the Prismatic Strands isn't going to be too great. They are playing 2 different colors. The Firebolt is quite nice. The bolts are quite nice. The Electrickery is actually an option because it can get rid of all of their fairies. But we're pretty good at trading with their fairies anyways. Guardian of the Guildpact is quite strong. They only have a couple cards that can touch it. We'll take out one of the Palace Sentinels because it's difficult to hold the Monarch against the opponent. But if they play their Assassin, we will want to play our Soldiers. Okay, we're looking to take one more card out. Perhaps one of the lightning bolts. Okay, let's submit like this. We will take the play. Okay, this hand is alright, we'll keep it. We have Electrickery to hit their fairies. If they try and counter something with Spell Stutter Sprite, Electrickery will blow them out. And we'll be able to play Squadron Hawk next turn. We are going to need to draw into lands, though. Okay, another Squadron Hawk. Unfortunate draw there. We have 5 cards in hand, so we can search for the other 2 Hawks. That'll bring us up to 7. Really looking to draw some lands now. Okay, that means they cannot play their fairy, so we're going to be able to play Squadron Hawk regardless of what we draw. I expect them to hold back here. And we find a land. Fantastic. We'll attack with Squadron Hawk. We're fine with the trade. Opponent is thinking about it. And they let us through. We'll play another Squadron Hawk and pass. We do have access to Electrickery. Not the Overload, but just the original mode. If we want to get rid of Fairy Seer. But we would generally just block. Okay, land here is going to be the ideal draw, so we can Battle Screech. Although opponent does have access now to those scary fumes that would give all our creatures -1/-1. So if we get the mana, we might actually want to play Guardian of the Guildpact instead. Okay, we do get a land, but it comes into play tapped. So we have access to Rally the Peasants, which would get 4, 5, 6 damage in potentially. Or we could play another Squadron Hawk. Leaning towards another Squadron Hawk here. And then we have Electrickery if we need it, just for one target, but that's not really what we want to use the spell for. We want to hit their fairies all in a row. Okay, this is fine. Do they have a ninja? They do. Okay. Unfortunately, we do not have an answer to their ninja, but we do have a bunch of flyers. And Rally the Peasants is getting very close to lethal here. So I want to Battle Screech. And if they have Counterspell, we'll attack for 3. Cancel that. I think I would rather play the Guardian of the Guildpact. And that can block Ninja. So we're going to do that instead. First thing, we'll attack all. The Battle Screeches are quite attractive, but it is a problem if they have suffocating fumes. So I'm going to play this instead and hope to evade a counterspell. Oh, looks like they had it. Okay. Augur of Bolas is returned. And they found another counterspell. Okay, no blocks. They'll be able to draw a card with a ninja. I don't expect them to put another ninja in play. They have counterspell up. Okay, we find Secluded Steppe. I think at this point we have to Battle Screech. And then we can flash back the Battle Screech. Okay, here's the counterspell that we saw. Baited it out. So we'll bring some more birds in. And I might have missed the land drop there. Okay, their fairies are going to be able to counter 3-drop spells now, but that's what the Electrickery is for. If we had played the Secluded Steppe last turn, we would be in a better position. Let's hope we get an untapped land off the top, so we aren't punished. Otherwise, we're looking at casting Battle Screech again. We can double block the ninja here. Take it off the board. And if they tap mana, they're off counterspell. Okay, they're going to snuff out instead, so that's 4 life. And a card. That's a good trade for us. Okay, we do get untapped land. So we can Rally the Peasants and Electrickery. Rally the Peasants is good for 9 damage here, but they have 2 blockers. So I don't feel like that's actually what we need to be doing. I think I would rather Battle Screech and cast it again. So they only have 2 fairies here. They need actual counterspell to be able to stop this. And if I play the mountain first, I can cycle the steppe. Okay, it worked. Cast it again, fantastic. We will go ahead and attack with our 2 hawks. Keep the pressure on. The opponent goes to 9, and we have the step for cycling. Okay, unfortunately, our opponent got to the suffocating fumes, so that's GG. But I think... Yeah, whatever. We'll keep it. Interesting. Rakdos. You don't see Rakdos too often. Alright, we're going to play Wind-Scarred Crag and pass. Okay. Our opponent has done nothing for their first 2 turns. We can play Seeker of the Way or Squadron Hawk. I imagine our opponent is going to have plenty of removal, So we're going to play Squadron Hawk. And we're only going to be able to go get one this time. Leading with Squadron Hawk because I believe our opponent will have removal here. So if we played our Seeker of the Way, we would have just lost it. Whereas if we play Squadron Hawk, it replaces itself. Okay, here's Chittering Rats. So we'll have to put a card on top of the library. Doesn't really matter which. Okay. We do have Lightning Bolt to get the rats out of the way. I'm thinking I might play Seeker of the Way this turn and hold up Lightning Bolt to get the rats out. Okay, we'll attack for one here, play Seeker of the Way, and pass. Okay, Chainer's Edict, fantastic. We can just sacrifice the Squadron Hawk here. And Bone Picker, so we can kill that with Lightning Bolt. And then we can play 2 Squadron Hawks on our turn. Or we could play Battle Screech, which would activate the Seeker of the Way. And then it could attack past Chittering Rats. Okay, opponent's taking their time here, deciding if they want to attack their 2/2 into our 3/3 lifelink. They made the right choice. Okay, I like playing Battle Screech here, so it turns the Seeker of the Way into a 3/3. The question then is, do we want to recast Battle Screech or attack for 3? Personally, I like attacking for 3 here. And then when we flash back Battle Screech on the next turn, Seeker of the Way will again get its abilities to trigger. So we're putting on pressure this way. Opponent could have Snuff Out. And that would get us. Okay, we're going to leave the Battle Screech there and attack for 3. We can recast Battle Screech next turn to get the Prowess trigger a second time. Okay, here's a Rager. So far, this is looking like a classic black control list with a splash for red removal. They could play Lightning Bolt, they could play Terminate, they could play Electrickery and Pyroblast. So I think that red does add quite a bit to the classic mono black shell. No blocks here. Okay, we find another Strands. So we're going to play Squadron Hawk. And we'll hold up Strands. I want to recast Battle Screech here. And we'll pass back. Or we could put one Squadron Hawk out. I don't think it's worthwhile to put the Squadron Hawk out when we can be holding up Strands. Not that our life total is in much danger, but I wouldn't mind getting one into the graveyard. Oh, they have Bonder's Ornament. One of the best cards in Pauper right now. And one of the cards that could potentially be banned. I expect them to swing in, and they did not disappoint, so we will play Prismatic Strands. And this will prevent all black damage. I suppose we could have double blocked there and taken one of their creatures off the board. That was my mistake. I was playing a little bit too quickly. We're going to be looking to play both the Squadron Hawks here, and we can flash back Prismatic Strands if we need to. Just waiting for the opponent to let us go to the Declare Attacker step. Now, I've definitely been happy to have the opportunity to play this Boros Bully deck, but the more time I spend with creatures with 1 toughness, the more I realize how frustrating it is to have your board swept by 1 card. Be it Electrickery or Suffocating Fumes or whatever. Yeah, I just have a really hard time with that. And there are quite a few cards in Pauper that can take care of creatures with 1 toughness. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind for my future choices for Pauper decks. While I think that Boros Bully and Elves are both good lists, I'm just really not into having all my creatures swept off the board. Huh, they made a white mana, and then they're passing. Interesting. Okay. I think we want to play the Squadron Hawks out. Oh, our opponent has conceded. So, what are we going to do against Mono Black control, or rather Rakdos control? Pyroblast and Elemental Blast are obviously no good. Electrickery is no good. Standard Bearer would eat a removal spell. Shenanigans, actually, for their Bonder's Ornament, we want that. Molten Rain can potentially hit one of their Karoo lands, but I don't think that's actually worthwhile. I think that we're going to end up keeping the deck very similar to what it was. And maybe take out... maybe take out one of the Battle Screech, because, again, this deck is going to be playing... a mass removal spell. So I'm not that into going all in on my X1s. Okay, we have a removal spell and Palace Sentinels to become the Monarch. Not the best hand here, but Palace Sentinels and Prismatic Strands is pretty nice. We're going to keep this and see what happens. Looks like the opponent mulligan to 6. Okay, we'll play Wind-Scarred Crag and pass. Okay, here's the Carnarium. And they're passing back again. We don't really have a play, but we can hold up Lightning Bolt, so we'll just play Wind-Scarred Crag, go up to 22, and pass. Okay, they're... oh, no, they're not going up to 3 mana this turn. They're staying at 2, and it looks like they're passing back. Okay. Exciting game so far. Let's land go. Okay, here's the Chittering Rats. So we're going to want to Lightning Bolt that, so we can play Palace Sentinels next turn. This will give us Monarch. And if they try and take Monarch away from us, we have Prismatic Strands. If they use the Assassin to take the Monarch away from us, then we have another Soldier. Okay, here's a Rager. That's no problem. We're not worried about that. Our Palace Sentinels blocks it. Okay, we find Seeker of the Way. We're going to put that on the board for sure. And we're going to hold back with the Sentinels. We want to be able to block for sure. We need to keep the Monarch. It's very important. If the opponent takes it, they could win. If they don't take it, we will win. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have mana for the Prismatic Strands right now, but I'm hoping that 2 creatures will be enough to hold on to that, and if not, we have Palace Sentinels next turn. Okay, Baron Moore, that's fine. I was worried that they might have had a Disfigure there. No attacks. Draw a card. Thraben Inspector, very nice. Okay, they need to kill both of our creatures here to take the Monarch. Okay, they got 1. And 2. Okay, unfortunately we do not have the mana to cast a spell to save the warrior, so they managed to take the Monarch this turn. We will have the mana for Sentinels into Thraben Inspector, so we will be able to take it back on our turn, even though we have no creatures in play. So this is a fine gambit. We find Seeker of the Way. We have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So we can play Palace Sentinels and Seeker, or Palace Sentinels and Inspector, and hold the mana up. There doesn't seem to be too much value in holding up mana here. Although we could draw Lightning Bolt. So let's play Thraben Inspector, just in case we draw a Lightning Bolt with the Monarch. We get Shenanigans instead. Okay, they do have 6 cards in hand, so they could definitely have another 2 removal spells. And if they do that, then they're ahead. We will have quite a hard time taking the Monarch back from them at that point. Maybe what I should have done was cast... no, we wouldn't have had enough mana for that. I was thinking if we could have cast the Oblivion Ring as well as the Palace Sentinels, then we would have been able to hold the Monarch. This is fine. This is totally fine. We're good. We have Prismatic Strands ready to go. Yeah, fine. Go ahead and take something. What are you going to take? Great. Oh, good. Very good. Okay. In that case, let's go ahead and tap the... let's go ahead and do that right now, since the Bojuka Bog is going to get rid of it. So now our creatures are protection from black. Or rather, all black damage is prevented. Sorry. There is a slight difference there. For example, you cannot cast Prismatic Strands and then expect to attack through your opponent's creatures. They can still block, even though they won't do damage. Okay, I expect the opponent to just pass here, but they're taking their time. They could be double queuing, or they didn't realize they had to stop and just went off. So we'll just take a second here and practice patience. Okay, we have equal cards in hand, but I have the Monarch and a clue, so I will be drawing quite a few. We're looking to put Seeker of the Way onto the board, keep a creature presence so that they cannot attack through our creatures and take the Monarch away from us. Ah, they are attacking. That is surprising. Why would they do that? We're preventing all black damage. We're going to kill your creature. Maybe they want their creature to die so they can unearth it. That's the only thing that makes any sense to me. Okay, we're going to crack our clue to start. Okay, we find a crag. We'll play the Seeker of the Way. Okay, play Boros Garrison, returning planes. And we're going to hang back on our creatures because we want to keep the Monarch, so we're not going to bother attacking. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that'll attack through our creatures, won't it? Okay, we're going to discard a card here. We'll get rid of this tap land. Or this... yeah, we'll get rid of the tap land. We have plenty of lands here. And another Spectre. Okay. So they will be taking the Monarch away from us. We can get rid of the Shenanigans. And we can get it back if they show us the ornament. Okay. No, we'll leave that there. And we get another Palace Sentinels. Fantastic. So this turn we're looking to Rally the Peasants to gain a bunch of life and do a ton of damage. We can attack with everything. And we'll get the Monarch back next turn through the Sentinels. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so we can Rally the Peasants twice. Let's go. The Phyrexian Rager can trade with the Inspector, but any other block is bad for the opponent. They could double block a Seeker of the Way to kill it. Okay, we'll attack all. We know we cannot keep the Monarch, so we're going aggressive here. They're tapped out, so we're going to go ahead and rally. And we'll do it again. All the rally. So this is just going to be massive amount of damage. Put them to 3. Let's see here. It looks like we can still play a land. And let's see if we draw a Lightning Bolt. Let's put a stop on the end just in case. And we got Squadron Hawk. Okay. Squadron Hawk does block Spectre. Ah, Wrench Mind. We'll discard 2 lands. And Bojuka Bog. Get rid of that Shenanigans. Okay, fortunately we were able to hold on to the Palace Sentinels. They take the Monarch away. But they are in dire straits. Ah, Lightning Bolt. Very good. We get another Squadron Hawk. Unfortunate. Let's see here. So we have access to 6, 7, 8 mana. So we can play the Palace Sentinels and both Squadron Hawks. We can also attack here. And they are forced to block. So let's start with combat and see what happens. It's looking pretty good here. I think we're going to be ending 2-3. The opponent has 1 card in hand. And they must block. This is fine. We lose the Thraben Inspector. But we get the Monarch back anyway. absolutely want to use Squadron Hawk's ability. Let's go ahead and fill our hand up. Ah, there we go. Our opponent conceded to Squadron Hawk. Okay. So we ended up 2-3 there. Not the most impressive showing, but it was still quite a bit of fun. We managed to fight against one of the, or rather the trophy leader on match 2. That was a lot of fun. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have anything else to do here today. So I'm just going to change the screen here so we can take a look at what I was playing here. Here it is. So this is the Boros Bully deck that I was running today. It intends to go wide, and then once it puts a bunch of creatures onto the board, use Rally the Peasants in order to do lethal damage. It has some very effective removal spells in Lightning Bolt, Journey to Nowhere, and Firebolt. And then it has Faithless Looting to be able to find the cards that we're looking for in a certain situation. And quite a few of our cards actually have flashback, so they'll be just as effective in the graveyard. Battle Screech and Prismatic Strands are have no mana cost when they're in the graveyard to be flashbacked, so that can be very useful. And this is one of the few decks where you can play Faithless Looting because it's banned in Modern. Alright. So that's it for the stream today. I will be playing Boros Bully again on Thursday. We'll see if we can do a little bit better. And I'll be playing Humans tomorrow and Friday. Alright, well thank you very much for tuning in, and hope you have a wonderful day.